Hey,
Welcome in to the Pennant Grace, everyone. I am in Dallas, where the All-Star game is, where
I
baseball is collectively gathering.
I don't like not having you right to my left. I'm just used to that.
I know.
It's just
Very
different.
sad.
Yeah,
It
yeah. Did you
is.
you had
It
a big day?
is. I did. And listen, if the Wi-Fi is a little spotty, it's because I am currently in the Omni Hotel for SEC
Yeah,
Media Days,
yeah.
and I'm a little far from the Wi-Fi router.
Yes. I am
We're gonna
uh
work with.
I am in the south offices of the Pennant Grace. Wi-Fi should be good here. Shouldn't be an issue. I can't believe we're at the halfway point uh of the season and the All-Star break, which is All-Star game, home run derby happening there where you are in Dallas. Now, I hear that is a very, very hot ticket.
It is, and I have heard of some people that are planning to attend. I've heard from one person, he was out of LSU, and he said, "I extended my trip just to go to that game."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "I envy you, sir, because I would love to catch Azuna at the home run
Yeah.
derby tonight."
Yeah.
Apparently, word on the street is that Ronaldo Lopez told him that if he does not win the home run derby tonight, he is not, coming home and has to walk home.
Oh, pretty good, decent walk there. Well, Marcel's got Snit Bear with him. I think he's pretty dialed in and ready. I'm interested, and I know you are, to see how these new rules affect things, how things go. Home Run Derby is always a fun watch, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that a few episodes ago, so go check that out if you want the rules on the updated home run derby. I've been talking a lot of football today, and I'm excited to talk some baseball. The draft was last night, and the Braves have some interesting and kind of unexpected pickups, so we'll get into that. But before we go any further, who are we presented by and what code do they need to use?
We are presented by Roback and Roback.com. When you go to Roback.com and make your order, make sure at checkout you enter the code PG20, PG for Pennant Grace. It's going to save you 20%. You can't beat that.
No, you cannot. So last night, like we said, it was the draft, and I saw that it was in a rodeo space. So there was dirt on the floors. It looked so Texas.
Yeah,
I was laughing to myself, like, what shoes would I have worn? Because it's like you're in the dust.
right, right. I would not have immediately thought shoes, but you needed to. I thought it looked really cool. I thought it, fit what it was going for there. It looked like a fun night.
Absolutely. So the Braves picked up high school lefty Cam Caminetti.
Yeah,
Might be pronouncing that wrong, I'm not sure,
right.
but basically, he has been described as a mini Max Fried, a Max Fried starter pack, if you will. That's interesting to me. I'm really excited to see where that leads to. I wasn't really expecting it. He is only 17.
Yeah. Well, and he's a lefty, and they even said he's got a really strong bat. And remember when pitchers used to actually hit that, Matt Reed was a good hitter. And so Braves fans, longtime Braves fans, remember actually Ken Caminetti, who's best known as a Dodger, where he was an MVP, but did play with the Braves. I believe the Braves were his last team. The late Ken Caminetti, former MVP, and so that is the cousin there. So there's got to be a connection, and sure enough, that's his cousin. So exciting to see. Not
Mhm.
surprising to see the Braves go with an arm, but like you said, young guy. I thought he
Yep.
came across well in the interviews and all the clips that we saw last night.
I agree. Speaking of that, he said, "Honestly, I didn't know where I was going to go on the draft. I'm pretty excited that I fell with such a great ball club. They're really good at developing left-handed pitchers. They've got 2 great left-handed pitchers on their rotation right now. They're an exciting young baseball team, so I'm excited to head that way."
Yeah, I
I
like.
like it.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
So, friend of the show, Maria Martin, was the one that told us about Ronaldo Lopez telling Azuna that he will not be riding home with the team should he not win the home run derby. But I also saw this on Twitter, and I apologize because I cannot remember who posted this, but I will try and find that and give them credit. But a reporter asked Max Fried about staying in Atlanta, and I want your reaction on this. So this is what Max Fried said. He says, "I 100% love the organization. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that in the middle of the season we're focused on a lot of other things, but I truly do. I've loved my time in Atlanta. I love it. Definitely would love to be here." What is your takeaway?
I don't really have much of a takeaway. Freddie said all those good things, and Dansby said all those good things, and everyone says good things. And I'm going to just stick with having been burned before, learning my lesson, and saying since they haven't re-signed him, that I do think that Max Fried pitches elsewhere next year. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to keep him. I'm happy for him being an all-star again. It's the most amazing thing about the half season so far for the Atlanta Braves is the fact that they lost their ace and have three starting pitchers as all-stars. And that's absolutely incredible. And if you look at overall pitching staffs, where will you find the Atlanta Braves? Now, I really want to make sure that all those that are talking a lot about the Braves picking up an arm in the trade deadline, make sure you pay extra close attention to me. Who is number one in baseball as far as pitching staff overall? It's Atlanta Braves at .340. The Phillies are .341 right behind them. So you've got the Red Sox at 5, Yankees at 4, Mariners at 3. So all AL teams, and they're at the top. The Phillies and the Braves in the slightest of margins. Phillies 8.5 up, of course, on the Braves in the standings. That is amazing, and it hasn't been talked about enough. The fact that the pitching staff, both the starting rotation and the bullpen, has done as well as it has. To have some new faces in the bullpen, to have AJ Minter with a rather lengthy injury, and to basically be doing all of this without Spencer Strider is incredible.
Yeah.
And to me, it's carried the team, and so we saw even the credit for Fried and especially Sale and Lopez and
Yes.
and Sale and Lopez are two of your Cy Young front runners right now. But Spencer Schwellenbach, the special,
The
um,
special.
game 2 in the Padres, right? That was his best start, and he had only 3 strikeouts, but 7 innings. The guy went 7 innings, only gave up 1 run, 3 hits, only had 3 hits, only had 1 walk. I mean, he looked absolutely fantastic out there, and I'm really encouraged by what the Braves are doing as far as their starting rotation and their bullpen. And again, they really need that offensive help. We thought
Yeah.
that maybe Matt Olson was coming around. Before his big day yesterday, he had gone cold. My guy Jared Kelenic has cooled down some. So consistency in bats,
Mhm.
that's where the Braves are struggling. That's why the Braves are 8.5 back of Philadelphia. That they're basically equal with as far as pitching goes, and Philly's pitching is outstanding. By the way, did you see Brian Anderson was optioned? So
Yes.
there is an open spot. I don't know what you're hearing on your end, partner, but this one blows my mind just because playing for a division rival. But there is a lot of Jazz Chisholm talk heating up. So Jazz Chisholm, the Florida Marlin, Miami Marlin, old habits. They have in second. He can play center. He can play short. He can play second. So how's Jazz doing? He's batting .249 with 42 RBIs and 12 home runs. Um, they're obviously going to be adding something, and possibly more than something, maybe a couple of guys. I'm really interested to see how that plays all out. And if they were to get someone like him, and I think there's a lot of interest in him. The Marlins, we know, you and I talked about this. We know they're going to be sellers.
Yeah.
So,
They're one of the few teams too that
yeah,
is confirmed at this point that we know are gonna be sellers. That would be an interesting pickup for a few reasons, but I think the draw is that he's such a versatile player, and that right now, with the uncertainty of this Braves roster, that's what you need.
yeah, versatile player, young, does have some power, and like you said, can play multiple positions. What do they do at leadoff? Because that's somebody they could put at lead. and off. I was adamant about keeping Kelnick. I know he did cool down. Hope it's a
Hmm.
good break for him. I still like him in that spot. That's where I would go in that. But it is really going to be interesting to see. We're in this season now. Now we're at the point where these talks are really going to heat up. These rumors are really going to heat up. So as we enjoy our Atlanta Braves in the All-Star game, Marcell Ozuna in the home run derby tonight, and a very deserving All-Star. And again, those three pitchers. I do have a good question for you. I have a school question for you. You got good
Let's
grades,
do
right?
it.
Good girl.
Yeah, I did, but I'm like echoing really bad. We have 88 people on right now. Thank you
So
guys for being here. This is probably our most casual show ever, but I
I
really
don't know.
appreciate everyone.
I've done a show in a tank top before. So first half of the season, All-Star break. Letter grade for the Atlanta Braves.
Letter grade. Okay, I'm going to split it up. I am going to do, excuse me, pitching A,
Mm-hmm.
A plus, dare I say. Offense D.
Mm-hmm.
That probably averages out to probably a B minus, maybe a C plus. I'm gonna go C plus.
You and I are in the same place. I definitely agree with you on the A plus on the pitching staff, and I think a D is maybe even generous on the offense. Just and keep in mind, I say that in light of a team that had a record breaking offense last year, and so what they've been able to do. I do want to keep in mind. I mentioned Strider, but obviously Acuna, all the other guys that have had stints. So what they've been able to do through injuries is admirable. I think keeping what appears to be very good vibes, very good clubhouse, and staying competitive. We went over that a couple episodes ago. Those teams that have 50+ wins, not a huge
Yep.
grouping there that they're in, and so I want to keep that in mind. So I do think overall, I think the highest you could go for an overall score would probably be a B, B minus.
I
A lot of people would go C.
I think it has to be a C just because there were so many moments where it could have been great and the pieces were there. I look at all of the runners the Braves left stranded, and I also look though at how the Braves could not overcome a 4-run deficit.
Yeah,
If that team scored more than 4 runs, it was game over.
yeah,
You just can't have that, and I'm hoping, and you guys let us know what your letter grade would be as well.
yeah.
All-Star break, I think, will be healing too. I think we're going to see a turning point, and this time in 2 months, we could be talking about a completely different team than we are right now.
Yeah, baseball, such a game of momentum. Be very interesting to see which teams sustain the success. You got to think that there's going to be someone who's a contender right now that's going to hit the skids, but you also got to think there's going to be a team that's going to come out of nowhere. There's going to be a Diamondbacks
Right.
type comes out. Could be the Diamondbacks again, honestly.
It could, and the Phillies, they're showing some glimpses of slowing down, but not really. The A's beating them last week now, that was incredible. What was the final score? 18-3?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like, what am I watching? Like, what universe does this exist in? I didn't think the A's were capable of that. Although the A's are much better than very low bar, by the way. But
It was something. I do wanna
yeah,
ask you because we're gonna wrap up here in a second. Like I said, I'm in Dallas for media days, talking a lot of football, but we had to get on for the Pennant Grace. We are gonna do a Thursday show, so I know some of you guys are probably jumping on my Twitter live stream thinking we're gonna be recapping SEC media days. Not here, not yet. We're
yeah,
talking baseball.
yeah. With
But
around guys, very jealous with you. You can't. They got to save all that college football talk for themselves.
with that being said, though, we will do a show on Thursday and we'll keep you guys updated. If there's any festivities of sorts that I see here, I will relay it. One thing, though, I do need to tell you. So it was the LSU player breakouts. And Garrett Nessmeyer was asked if he thinks that he could hit a pitch off of Paul Skeens.
Oh,
He had to repeat the question and said, "Do you think I could get a hit off of Paul Skeens?" He goes, "Absolutely not. Absolutely not." I thought that was pretty funny because
yeah,
they're both in Dallas, obviously, for tonight. But it was interesting to kind of hear the rumblings here about the All-Star game, home run derbies, who's attending, who's not. But it's a fun time right now in sports.
I love that it's a hot ticket. That alone is good with all that's happening in a city like Dallas. As much as you and I wanted Chris Sale to be that starter, Paul Skeens starting is good for baseball. It really is.
It is.
He's a young, very popular player that has the potential to do some pretty amazing things from what we've seen early on. And so, baseball needs stars. They need to market those stars, and so I'm
Mhm.
happy for him and for that Pittsburgh organization. Um, hope they can keep him and build something around that. That's a team that suffered for such a long time, and fan base that suffered for such a long time. But it's good for baseball to see that, to have those young players.
I agree. So check back in with us on Thursday. We will tell you guys a time. Again, thank y'all for being so flexible with us. There's 108 of you guys watching. We appreciate it so, so much. Follow us at the Pennant Grace. And you know what I've also seen a lot of here?
What's that?
Throwback.
It's been everywhere. So
It's
Dallas
everywhere.
just as much as we do in Alabama. Huh?
I mean, it is everywhere. And we have a code for you guys. PG20 will save you 20% off your Rowback order. It's incredible. We love Rowback. You will love them too. So make sure to go check that out. And any final thoughts from you, Ash?
Well, number one, that they're wearing a lot of rowback in Dallas, and I guess that we need to go ahead and accept Texas in the SEC. Uh, they're dressing like we do. That's a good thing. That's a start. That's
It
something.
is.
Again, I'm interested in our viewers in that letter grade. That's a real easy one. And
Mhm.
for those that are commenting in the chat, if you're on X, if you could give your letter grade, make sure you tag us in that. I'm really interested. Now you're weighing this as an overall grade. Now, if you want to throw in like we did, individual grades for pitching and also for offense, you can do that. But your overall grade, where do you see the team and where do you see them going in that second half?
All right. We'll be back with you guys Thursday. We'll give you a time sooner than later. But until then, enjoy the home run derby tonight, and we'll see y'all soon.